Also, for everyone who will be watching this podcast in recording, you will have an opportunity to see the examples of the creative you can use, for example, when you have a pipeline generation stage. What you can show here, you can show value proposition that is tied to this kind of title. You can show social trust campaign, to build some kind of reputation, and also thought leadership, also to start being expert in their eyes in this kind of direction. If we are talking about the deal closure stage or interested leads, like everyone who is already in your pipeline, here you can tell about your case studies. You can also launch some objection-specific campaigns if
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Growth and Conversions podcast. We are one more time back with ABM, and this time we'll deep dive into ABM ads and why these ABM ads do not convert. Today is Veronica, joined by me, who's expert in using Influ2 as a platform and running the ABM ads. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, thank you for giving me the word. So, hi everyone. My name is Victoria. So, I'm a founder of ABM Agency, where we are doing ABM ads in combination with other channels. I do have some profound expertise in outbound as well, and for the last 2 years, I've been switching totally into ABM direction. So today, I have some interesting practical tips for you to share.
And I'm so thankful for preparing the presentation for all of us, and excited to see how do you set up the actual ads inside the Influ2. I'm happy that you have you prepared some examples of the ads that you've created. So it's going to be super practical. It's a webinar style podcast. So I'm super excited for this. Thank you so much. So let's get started. Before we dive in, what do you think? What do you think the ads do not convert? What is the single reason?
Actually, we will cover today the 5 main reasons that, from my observation, are the main, blockers to your ABM success. Let me know if you see my screen.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So today's our topic is why your ABM ads don't work. So let's dive in. So what about classic campaign? I'll use today this kind of term. I know there are different terms in the market, but for today's discussion, let's talk in this way. So when I'm saying classic campaign, what I mean by this, that's a campaign when you can launch on Meta, on YouTube, LinkedIn, that can have that may have some kind of programmatic display when you can start with audience. For example, you can pick one persona, CMOs in SaaS sector, and that work in companies with a size of 100, 200 employees. And you can build the audience around that profile, and then you set a budget, you run creatives, optimize for impression, all of the things. And in the end, what we see that the actual goal of classic campaign is volume. So you're trying to reach as many these kind of right people as possible, and then hoping for converting some percentage of them into leads. I'm not saying that's approach that is not workable. Of course, it works for some certain things, and it's okay that your company may running this kind of campaigns. But when we are talking about account-based marketing, here we have some huge differences, and these kind of differences is actually what can lead you to success in this type of campaign. So when we are talking about the goals that we have in account-based marketing ads, It's not like a volume-based motion. It's more about building presence in target accounts, and it's more about supporting your sales team depending on buyer journey where this lead is on. We need to remember that ads in this case are the part of some like a bigger motion where it's linked to outbound, when it can be linked to, I don't know, events, any other activities. So they need to work together. And as for timelines, classic campaigns might be can be optimized in weeks, right? But when we have an ABM ads here, we have live up with your expectations regarding investments you put in. Also, you have with such a client's good retention rate, also upsells and so on. So these kind of companies should be built on real examples, on the most successful cases you previously had. Because ABM is not about dream client leads that I've never had before, right? It's about repetitive work to replicate the pattern that you had earlier, but in this kind of ABM scale, So please don't forget about this, because that's something that will also influence the quality of your content, banners, and also even outbound sequences and sales conversations. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would like to deep dive. So how do you decide the difference between do we want to go the outbound motion or we want to do the persona based ad first? So how do you decide differentiate the account that we select?
As for channels selection, we if we do IBM, we cannot work without any kind of tool that help us to nurture our database. In most cases, it's ads. But if you don't have a budget for it, for example, you can go with a social selling first, right? Or any other method. But the key thing is that you need to warm up your audience first. You need to be the first on their radar when they understand that I have the need for such kind of solution, and then your brand names should appear in their mind, so it may be not ads, but still you need to find something for this, because in other cases it's not an IBM. I'll actually show you a bit later the real workflow, how it should look like this. But simply speaking, ads should support every stage of the buyer's journey they are going through, even for upselling, especially if you're working with the product. You're also running ads to upsell your paid customers to purchase. It depending on the buyer journey. So we need to analyze, for example, whether our audience is active on LinkedIn or not. If it's not active on LinkedIn, for example, I'm not using then IBM tool that is created for a LinkedIn ads. I'm going with Influ2 or other stuff, right?
What is the reason for the ABM ads failing? So let's dive into that. And I know let's, yeah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, just to sum up my previous thought, and I will maybe repeat it again and again. The great quote: if you set up ABM ads with a classic campaign mindset, you will conclude that ABM ads don't work. But the problem is not a channel. The problem is a frame you put this channel into. So we'll talk today about this kind of orchestration and top 5 reasons why ABM ads fail. So problem number 1, no real account list. In the classic campaign, we are mostly work with some filters, but we don't understand the list of the companies we are working with, like name by name. In IBM, you it's required to have specific named accounts, not just sector or a niche or category. And moreover, you need to have a buyer committee as well. Without this kind of list, you are not working with ABM. There are different methods how you can build these leads. This may be the topic for another webinars, but please remember about this. And also, while you're building a real account list, you need also to select what type of approach I'm working with. Is it one-to-one personalization? Is it one-to-few or one-to-many? You know all of these terms, I'm sure, if you know what is account-based marketing, in its fundamentals. And for ABM ads campaign, it also matters because if you're working with tier one, for example, you have up to 50 accounts, you should have one-to-one personalization. You have a pretty short this target list, and you need to create the one-to-one ads for each of these companies, also to exact reasons why you should narrow down, and you understand that your budget invested into this tier one approach will pay off over the time, right? I'm usually working, or at least start working with tier two and tier three approaches. Tier two, or one to few, it's like a cluster approach when you can segment your audience with at least, I would say, two levels of personalization. That's from my experience how we are building this training. So you have from 50 to 500 accounts in one cluster. You can have several clusters like this. It can be, for example, cluster number one, head of operations from logistics field, right? And they are primary contact in this kind of campaign, and they need to get the ad that reflects their KPIs, their pains, and we are playing around this title. More than 500 accounts, it's something that may look like a classic ads campaign, but here we still have the main distinction that we are working with a defined lead of the company. So maybe it's 1,000, but we do know what kind of companies are included into this lead. We can have just one layer of personalization, for example, just industry, and here we can allow ourselves to work with some broad ICP. And what makes this campaign be more like ABM lookalike is that, again, we have well-defined list. We are working with intent signals, and we are capturing data from engagement with our ads. So that's the fix number one, how you need to work with your database before setting up of campaigns. From the technical aspects, what I can to add is search as much data as possible. Of course, if it's allowed, corporate emails, maybe if you have, for some reasons, personal emails or phone numbers, the more like a connection point you have, the bigger percentage you'll have in the end in reaching these people after, because each platform, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, it can work with different type of data, and this kind of matching rate is quite important. Match rate, in simple words, is when this ad found your contact and this contact will be included into your campaign. Approaches to not take a lot of time. We had experience working with PLG companies, and one of them was from e-documentation field. And as it's a PLG motion, maybe with some kind of hybrid, we understood that we have huge data to work with. Why huge and why it's still relevant for IBM? Because it was a database of their active users. Anyway, this kind of active users, they went through the awareness stage, and it's much easier to do IBM, in the middle of the funnel, and that's why we allowed ourselves to work with a tier 2 approach during the pilot period. Answer to your question.
I like your point that nowadays with the Claude and ChatGPT, we are able to do more research. I faced a similar challenges. What we did is we had a hyper segmented list and jobs to be done by each personas. But what we added is by using this AI automation, we wanted to analyze what is their current priorities. Job to be done for job to be done is like generic is very wide. Um, what I did is what they're doing, what is their current priority right now, and I build the automation to analyze the type of content that they are posting currently. So last 15 20 posts, who they are engaging with. So most companies, for example, marketing team, they had running ads, or these are the running ads or running different campaign is their job to be done. But if they are more focused right now on AI, so then AI related solution can be pitched, or right now is the right moment to talk about. So this is how to analyze that the current priority. I build an workflow which will analyze the research. Please also it will do the persona level research, and then what we are selling, and then Claude is able to give the accurate answer that okay, now how should we pitch, because then it's uses based pitching and not generic outreach. If generic outreach or generic message is absolutely relevant, that you are interested in account AI solution, and this is how we are providing the AI solution, and this could be relevant to you. Now we know what type of ads messaging in the specific ads to be mentioned, and the account ads became much more relevant. Coming back to our current topic, the problems.
Yeah, good. Problem number two also has some connection with your database. There are a lot of companies that are still working only with a decision maker. So here is one more reminder for you that in IBM you are working with all buyer committee group. And the thing is that your decision maker might be not the main person. If you have enterprise level company, you don't have just two or three personas in account that are interesting for you to target. You may have 12 or 15 of them, right? And if you divide your ads at least per three main titles, it can work much better than just a default banner for all of them. As for buying committee map, I think it's kind of a bit boring topic, I would say. Everyone knows it. There are economic buyer. Sometimes it's pretty similar to decision maker, technical evaluator, user, and blocker. What the most important here is that you need to remember, as you also mentioned about job to be done. Each of these title has its job to be done. In job to be done, when you're working with this framework, you need to remember that each type of prospects, depending on buyer committee role, they have their own KPIs they are working with, their own fears, their own interests, something that can affect the content on your ABM ads, and also outbound if you are setting it up. So it should be pretty connected. That's something for strategy part, but also very important for the setup. As for creatives, as I mentioned, they should be tied to the buyer journey, not just by role or by niche, by interest, by industry, but also by the stage your leads is currently at, whether it's awareness, activation, decision, deal up. You need to understand that when you're running ABM ads, not just classic ads, the goal is not always the awareness. If that's, for example, your paid customers, right? The current users of your product. So also for everyone who will be watching this podcast in recording, you will have an opportunity to see the examples of the creative you can use, for example, when you have a pipeline generation stage. What you can show here, you can show value proposition that is tied to this kind of title. You can show social trust campaign, to build some kind of reputation, and also thought leadership, also to start being expert in their eyes in this kind of direction. If we are talking about the deal closure stage or interested leads, like everyone who is already in your pipeline, here you can tell about your case studies. You can also launch some objection specific campaigns if you know this field very well, and you should know it very well. It also something that can help support your buyer decision and handle objections in advance. And if you have post-sale expansion, for example, if that's again user of your product, more common case, you can have some adoption campaigns with tutorials how to use your product, how to take the most of this experience, and also you can promote some of your new features. Why still IBM? Because you still can capture who clicked on this, who is interested in this feature, who is actively using your product, and so on. So please remember about this when you're building ABM ads. And problem number 4, one of my one of the most favorite ones, I think. Um, it can be everything great with your ads planning. So you have a segmentation, you decided the tier you're working with, you have a buyer committee structured, right? But you still are not connected with your sales team. So from my experience, it looks something like the marketing team is doing something, and sales team is expecting for generated in SQLs, like it's like the true inbound channel. But ABM does not work like this. It's usually starting with a cold approach when you're warming up your accounts, and also sales manager or SDR should put some efforts to help this account convert. It's not like the marketing's responsibility stops here when, for example, the lead booked the call, and then you just transfer this prospect to a sales team. It's more about working. It's already a buzzword. Working with in alignment, right? So marketing supports supports account until the deal closure stage, or even later if as I mentioned earlier. Here we also touch on the topic about CRM, because CRM will be the main space where you will have this kind of true connection between sales and marketing. But CRM should be in active usage of both teams. So how this kind of full system can look like end to end, I'm answering this question. For example, you have a tier 2 account added to CRM. We have a tool for today's example. We'll use Influ2 because it has a pretty large amount of features included and very extended functionalities. So it will be much easier for me to explain the campaign logic. So for example, you have a tier 2 account that's added to CRM, right? Influ2 can see it that from channel X, we added the lead to the CRM. Maybe it was outbound campaign, maybe it was ABM campaign. It also, depends from your CRM source, and then it can be automatically added to your platform, and then we have a start of our advertising. We are waiting until we accumulate at least 10 views of our banner or two banners, and then we can move our lead down to the another stage, and they will receive, for example, problem level ads, right? So we can build some sequences inside. At the same time, SDR can still monitor some signal center, as also you mentioned today, Meg, that you're actively working with intent signals, and that's actually where this story has a beginning. So you can monitor besides main ads activity like engagement with ads, who clicked on our ads, who viewed, to understand this logic between stages, when stage one has an ending and stage two begins, because along with this, like triggers that are turned on, your ads should be changed as well. So for example, SDR noticed some signal that they started, okay, they hired a VP of operations, and in addition to this, we see that this VP of operation, who's been working there for 2 months, he clicked on our ad, and we know the exact banner he clicked into. So you can receive this notification in HubSpot, and the sales team can react immediately. You can have the same. You can have the same automation in your Slack, it doesn't matter, but still you see that all of the teams are connected. And when, for example, SDR want to start outreach, it can be one-to-one or automatic but very personalized. You decide on your own. You can, mark, for example, in your CRM that I pushed this lead to this exact campaign. It has a 2 week length, for example, and also Influ2 can, for example, track it if you set this kind of rules, and also run another ad or stop running ads. It also depends. So almost any kind of CRM updates can be connected to your ABM product you're working with. So the main take is that you need to learn the functionality, but please don't store all of the information just in the Google Sheets. It's important to have this kind of instant, information transition from one department to the other.
Absolutely. Even this is extremely important. One question I always ask to the sales leader: what happens when SQL does not get convert? Because most companies, you're running outbound. Most companies starts with the sales led motion and they run the cold outbound, and 3 sequence, 4 sequence, even persona based sequence nowadays. Many people are running, and if the SQL does not convert, what happens? Nobody knows. I always pick
ABM
up.
knows.
Yes, and that's where I pick up. Okay, now is the time. If it doesn't convert, so let's nurture them. Maybe this is not the right time. We've done the research, and that's why we've selected those accounts to pitch your product. And now, if they're not ready to buy from you now for whatever reason, how about most companies are failing to nurture those accounts? And that's when um, I build the sequence, maybe also email sequence, maybe ad sequence. We are sure to nurture them, to inform them. So we would show the awareness ad where we are showing one to many accounts, and when that again, if the deal progresses, we can turn them into one to many to one to few, or one to one account, depending on the activities and depending on the engagement level that the account is showing. But it's not that, okay, leave them, or after 3 months just reach them out and then we say the sales cycle is long. If you are not in touch with them in between, you're definitely not going to close after 3 months as well, because they were not interested in buying from you then. They cannot be
Mhm.
interested in buying from you even now. So those internal continuous touch bases is also extremely important, that most
Mhm.
companies are missing it out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when you have a lost deal, for example, at this stage is SQL loss or I don't know MQL loss. If that's the account from your ABM campaign, you should definitely know the reason behind. So whether they are switching to um, do this in house, or they chosen another vendor. And knowing this context, and if you have these kind of cases accumulated, you can run this kind of lost deals campaign and do the objection handling method, as we touched on this topic today. Of course, not being over pushy, maybe even I would minimize the number of touches with messages, but just be on their radar all the time, because everything is changes. They can cut off the current vendor. They can do the internally off. They can get more budget, and now your solution is affordable. But you it's more and that's from a marketing perspective. And for a sales perspective, you, as you mentioned, you need to be in touch, you need to be their friend. Even if they are using another solution, you should be the first point of contact to that can help them sort out some things, or give some advice, or just share some articles that, even if they are using another tool, you can refer to your ad resources, education resources. I mean, so you need to be just a friend, and in this case, believe me, if they are changing our decision, they may come to you once again. It's just the question of the good rapport you're building with your lead. And it's not about some digital stuff. It's more about human to human connection you're building while communicating with them. So let's don't forget about this as well, I think.
Yeah, that's what happened in my last campaign. We plan a big campaign, and then budget was falling short because things are getting expensive, and there was a churn. So I decided, oh, why these people are churning? Because they were using our product for almost 3 years now. And then I noticed that internally they don't have capacity to run and use the product effectively. So instead of so we decided, okay, let's do the analysis right there, how they are using the product. If they are not using effectively, let's assist them there. So it will be less budget. Within the budget, we could nurture these clients, we could assist them, and we could get them more clients. And that's when my previous campaign got a super success. Without even spending extra ad budget or things, we did the nurturing within the existing account, how
Mhm.
they are using, and then guide them how to use it effectively, the product, and providing them time to time assistance. And that gave me a, okay, maybe you handle everything, not just the assistance, but you handle everything. And we got the new 13 new clients from the previous existing client, only existing, yeah, churn rate. So let's dive into the next question, that okay, intent signals use, and what your logic says about intent signals
Mhm.
and buying triggers.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite topics in my research. When, for example, we have a new account on board, because when I'm talking about signals, of course, you know that there are first-party signals that are gathered from the interaction with your web page, or for example, your ad click. You have second party signals when company is posting something about their self, or they are attending event, and third party signals some kind of industry trend, or you can work with intent platforms, and so on. But for me, it's you need to do some homework before working with intent signals, how we are approaching it to trainings, for example. When we want to define intent signals, it's not a standard list of them. They can be there can be some similar categories, but still each company has their own use cases, because believe me, there are myriad of them. And starting from, they can mention something on public sources, ending with another source can highlight them in some news, positive, negatives, it doesn't matter, it's a third party signal. But here you can see some, changes, and you can use it in your outbound sequences, into face-to-face conversation, and so on. That's about intent signals part. Of course, after I think a couple of months working with ABM, you can think about something like a scoring model, when you can define what kind of action the lead is doing to achieve, for example, score 10, score 100. Do we calculate this by the level of account worms, for example, when they visited page x of times and they clicked x of times, and we can say that, okay, this account knows our brands better and conversation will go smoother. Or maybe we will do scoring model based by some signals we see in the market. So they maybe don't know about us, but we do see that they might be looking for such types of solution, or we can do the mixture of them. It's I wouldn't say it's very easy to set up. Believe me, when we are doing in this, we have at least 2-3 iterations, gathering some feedback from sales manager. Is this kind of intent signal good? uh, does this company know about ratings? Have they heard about us, and so on? So do this. Also, you can build out some scoring model, and remember that you'll be working constantly in the mode of, constant improvement, I would say. um,
Like when you said intense signals, there was a time in the story I like real example. There were so many intense signals nowadays. People, oh, we need to check the intense signals. Hiring, third parties intense signals. So many intense signals monitoring at points. Then we don't know which one to follow and when to accurate outbound, and still the messages get stalled. And so there has to be a proper logic. Okay, which intent signals matters the most,
mhm.
and which is okay to let it go. And from the third party intent signals, we need to make sure that they join, like actually engage our first party, engage our content. And so there has to be a right moment to pitch. Not, if we do that, if we are pitching them too early, we are burning the leads,
Yeah.
we are burning our time. And in ABM, especially when we are working with a small TAM, we don't want to burn it, but we want to build the relationships. It's not, okay, let's pitch our product. Now is the time, let's pitch our products. There has to be a proper balance. And that is also one of the reasons that I see the account or ads do not work, or the ABM do not work, is one of the reasons that people are pitching too early, based on the intent signals that are third party intent signals, and not actually validating and making them, or there is no proper funnel for the first party intent signals. And until unless we have a first party intents, if they know us, if they are engaging with our content, and that is the right moment to pitch, and not just based on the third party intent signal. You attended some webinar, maybe now you are interested in buying the product. That's really wrong kind of ABM, I would say.
Yeah, or you can just, list them in the CRM, and, have the thought that the work is done. Okay, I know that they attended our webinar. I know that they have hired a new CMO, and I know this. And okay, you know this, and you gathered these intent signals, and now what? why still why still this Simeo is receiving same messages as other Simios in your account list. For example, if you know the new fact that this kind of person were recently hired into this company, so you can build another conversation, and also with a banner ads you can work with events as a supporting hand. If that's you can also add to your top of the funnel motion in ABM ads events. It's also cool. You can promote events, see who clicked, but for some reasons haven't registered. You can write to this person and not pitch your product, but say, "Hey, it seems to me that you showed some interest into our webinar. Has something gone wrong with the registration? Can I help you?" So you write in the context, and you are right at this buyer stage your account is in. He's not interested in buying something from you, but he was interested in learning something from you at this stage. They are in exploration stage, maybe.
Absolutely. We and these are the reason ABM fail. And then they said ABM does not fail. Like ABM does not work because the homework or the hard part nobody does. People are simply running the campaign, but there has to be manual analysis has to be done, which takes time. And nobody wants to do that. Simply run the ad, run the campaign, run the
Yeah.
outbound, and ABM does not work. These are the reasons I would say, okay, we have not done the real homework. And there has to be a manual work as well, even though there is a AI. This helps, but there has to be manual work done in validation question. Effective validation question, which shows our expertise, is extremely important, I believe.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the next point that you want to mention.
Yeah, the last one I'll be quick here. So, measuring the wrong things. Let's remember that if you're working with the classic campaigns, you're hoping for high CTR, and that might be the main. Uh, it might be the main metric you're following, right? But when you're working with ABM, you can have a CTR not, as high maybe as expected because you're working with a very niche and highly specific market. And in this case, what you should do is not optimizing the volume. So let's, pull in more and more leads, and even with these conversions, it will have the X number of SQL. It doesn't work like this. So if you want to improve the conversion, please do proper work on your ICP or on your banner ads or on your approach how you are activating the account, because the reason is again not in the tool but what you're pulling inside here. So you need to track MQLs and account engagement rate. After this, you can track pipeline influence, how much these key accounts are in your pipeline and what kind of revenue share they have. And are these kind of ABM leads, do they have a bigger contract size and higher ACV overall? Good. So let's move to real
Exciting part
in Influ 2. Yeah.
in Pluto.
Yeah. So as we mentioned today, the first problem you can face with that you have no real account list. How it works? I have a screenshot, but I know that somebody is listening us, so I will try to orally explain some of the things. So in Influ 2, how it works, you can upload your CSV with specific contacts, or you can upload the CSV with the companies, and Influ2 can help you search the exact people within accounts. But it's usually better to do this externally. But anyway, the product allows to do it this way. Or you can set some triggers when any of your leads are jumping into your campaigns automatically. It depends on you, because you may have this kind of CRM driven dynamic audience. I know that Influ2 is quite friendly with HubSpot and Salesforce. They have native APIs, if I'm not mistaken. But almost with any kind of CRM, you can build, and NAN, you can build integrations with APIs, webhooks. So please consider this option as well to have this kind of instant information exchange as I mentioned earlier. And do remember that we have something like a match rate. It match rate is the percentage of the contacts that the tool identified and started to run the sequence with. It's usually not 100 percentage because there might be incorrect emails or any other reasons. One more reminder about data hedging in your CRM, right? But typically it research around 40, 70 contacts, even if you uploaded them, I mean, and then starts the campaign. So remember about this when you are, expecting to calculate some conversions. If you are uploading 3,000 contacts, it doesn't mean that we will be targeting 3,000 contacts. So the tool may not identify all of them. So I think that's understandable. Any questions related to this?
Now, I think this is pretty clear that
Mhm.
again, at the end, CRM data has to be absolutely clean.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then it becomes, it's not, your ads are not going to convert. So definitely CRM ads is, CRM has to be
Mhm.
properly, but of course, I would like to ask, how do you use N10, N10 workflow here? And what are the activities do you delegate to N10 and what do you
Mhm.
do here?
I'm not the person who are setting this up. I'm not the techie one, but we do have the partners who are doing that. So I will probably tell you the use cases where we are using it, but not the what's
Mhm.
behind the curtains, right? Almost for all of our workflows, we are using these kind of automations, integrations. Usually it's Clay in combination with a CRM when, for example, we want to set up a scoring model, right? And the new intent signal appear in one tool. We can instantly see it in Clay. Clay can recalculate the score and move this to client CRM. If it's not a HubSpot, with HubSpot it may be a bit easier, but that's the kind of workflow we can set up to instantly have intent signal, for example, captured, listed, and transferred to CRM, and also inform about this our sales manager.
Absolutely. I love this. And any data you're transferring to the Influ to from the Clay to CRM, CRM to Influ to?
Um, yeah, it's usually it also depends on the use case. In our case, we were researching a new database in the last case. For example, that was the reason why we, put this data directly into Influ 2, and then sales manager can decide whether add this account to CRM or not. That one of the workflows, but you also can work with direct integration with Salesforce and HubSpot list. So it always depends on your needs. As for data that's required, of course, the more information, the better. It's usually a corporate email and LinkedIn is first and foremost, or at least LinkedIn profile if you want to run LinkedIn ads, and because the tool can extract somehow email from LinkedIn anyway. But if you don't have LinkedIn, there is no way to research it inside the tool if you have email only, right? So you should have LinkedIn and email. uh, if you have personal email in addition, that's great. If you have phone numbers in your database, it's also great because Facebook can find this person with help of phone number, not just with their email.
I was using a tool sometime back for the Facebook ads. I have not used Influ too, but I was using I was using Meta, but with a specific tool. I will tell you the name. Um, I was using this tool to create ads on account-based ad. Now, if it's a LinkedIn, yes, you can search the company list and you can run the ad. But if it is not, if you're a target account like e-commerce, if you're targeting, and if that is not specifically or if your target audience are not active on LinkedIn, but they are more active on Meta, then Victor is the tool that I was using, which was much more economical as compared to all the ABM expensive ABM platform. So using this Victor tool, which we could use the hyper personalized ads on Meta.
And have you had an opportunity to see the contact level engagement? I
Yes,
mean,
contact level because of the Victor is the tool that we were using. I was targeting the contact level engagement.
yeah, that's cool. Also, jumping back to the topic about intent signals, I know that there are a lot of new products appearing in the market that can help you track, some keywords in the news, just like you put the name of the company in Google, and see the news that mentioned this kind of company name. That's pretty cool. Just for this stage, for our clients, we calculated it's a bit more expensive than we are doing this manually. But I think if you want to minimize your work with webhooks, integrations, and so on, you can purchase ready to go solution, right? Just to do some research on what is in the market. And if you know, by the way, any kind of ABM tools you're actively using, you are satisfied with, you can also put in the comments if there will be an opportunity. So you can share with everyone your experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's dive into the next part of our session.
Yeah, yeah. Also here you can see how the here is the so yeah, you can see the cohort names, their journeys. We'll dive into this as well. Content, what total number of views you have, and what kind of people reach. That the match rate actually. It's from the match rate. You can see after that the people that tool reached with with your content. So the number of people, in a simple words, who saw your advertising. As for journey stages, I already explained you this logic that it's important also to follow the journey stages and trigger rules. And you need to remember that each stage, for example, awareness, it can be interested slash decision making, and upsell. It can be three, it's okay. But you need to treat this each stage like a separate campaign with a separate content. And you need to define what kind of transition triggers you have. For example, when the lead responded to your outbound sequence, it should be tracked, and Influ2 should be informed about this as well, and start showing another advertising. Or you can go with a simpler workflow. It also depends from case to case. Also, there might be some parallel journeys. For example, you have webinar, right? And you want to invite to this webinar different types of leads who know your product, who don't know, and even your current users. It's also okay. You can build some parallel journey. And what this kind of workflow is fixing, again, it's a problem number three that we touched on today, that you cannot show the same creative for everyone. Here, every contact has its own specific stage, and you have an opportunity, uh, change them depending on their current state. Um, that's a part of the journey builder. You see that here you can set some kind of conditions. Here are, for example, brand awareness, warm up, and then we have a value prop. So you can set the simple rule even without attaching to outbound sequence. For example, that if a target has spent 5 teens in day stage or you got one click, you need to show another banner. So this kind of journey that can be independent in your inflow too. So you can just have this logic for your banner campaigns, or they can be aligned with your logic in CRM. What I mean by this, if for your case you understand that interested stage for us will be when they clicked on ads and it's for us enough, go just with this workflow. You can work with this, in inflow2, and inflow2 will inform HubSpot about this. But if you got interested, for example, you're running outbound in parallel, and you know that the prospect is still seeing awareness ads, but he responded to your message with a positive reply, right? You need to inform inflow2 that please change the buyer stage. It's all about settings, integration, and CRM. And please do not overcomplicate these workflows when you have a first iteration with your IBM. Do this as simple as possible. You can even do this without building any journeys during the first 3 months. Build just top of the funnel, but do the good creatives. If you see that's working, let's do it more complex, right? So please remember about this. I'm not, encouraging you to stuck into this operational part, but I just wanted to show you different, possibilities to have around, how you can do this in practice. Yeah, so here also just an explanation. It's more stage one, stage two. You can see how it works in parallel with your stages, and also how your type of content is changing, whether it's a schedule to like a demo, and then it's qualification call, and so on. So that's also visual representation. For the HubSpot, we already mentioned this. We mentioned that every ad event in the CRM can have some connection, not a connection, but should notify the sales manager, and you can do this with HubSpot. And also you can do trigger-based notification as mentioned, and that help us fix the problem number 4 when marketing and sales teams are working in silos, and they don't understand what marketing is doing with this account, and how sales are approaching this account. So that's something can help you. Also, here is a screenshot that can show you that you see different stages in your CRM, and they can be aligned with stages in inflow2. And also you see that you can export again data from your HubSpot and also download it into inflow2. As for the problem with conversions, you also have an opportunity to track almost everything, even up to pipeline impact. So also dashboard can show you this. And that's one screenshot. Also, you can track, as mentioned, number of clicks, views, and so on. If you're working with YouTube ads, it's not this product, it's, for example, pre-show AI product. In addition to these events, you can also track the length of the time the leads spent with your ads. So like how much seconds he or she watched your YouTube ads. That's additional trigger you can track. Yeah, and as for intent, again, clicks, impressions, everything is accumulated in your signals center. So you can see this by account and by personas. So it's easily to understand the full picture, the historical data. And also, additionally, if I'm not mistaken, Influ2 is currently working on rolling out a new feature to track some search intent. There are different tools that do have their functionality, but also, for example, in this ABM tool, you will see it soon, or maybe it's already, ready to test on your end as well. Yeah, and also you see this kind of signal, some historical data. You can also set the task that is to be reviewed or reviewed and mark it. So I think, yeah, that's the ending. So please remember about each component of your ABM campaigns. If you see that channel doesn't work, it's usually not the problem of the channel. Channel is just the mechanism, and it's more important what you are put inside this mechanism: the strategy, the logic, the quality of data, the good target, the intent signals, and all of these factors influence your success. So yeah, please remember about that.
Absolutely. I love how you presented step by step methods about why the ads are failing. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, thank you also for the invitation. We had, I think, a very productive conversation today.